This is Brett Bonetti here reporting live from the Perth Convention and Exhibition Centre for Supanova, and we've got one of the very special guests here in Perth, Barry Pearl. Thank you very much for your time.
Oh, Brett, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
First of all, how are the fans treating you in Perth so far?
You know, it's funny, before I left, I was watching some, it wasn't a TikTok, it was a gentleman from the mainland, from the US, talking about how wonderful it is. He's walking around the suburbs of, might have been Sydney, about how chill everybody is here and how wonderful the flora and the fauna is. And I really honed in on the fact that he thought that the people that live here are as laid back and sweet and wonderful as they are. And he was absolutely right. You all lived up to his description of you guys.
No, that's fantastic. So again, we had a bit of rain yesterday, but it's a bit better for you today. So hopefully you get enough time to see the sights around Perth as well. It's a beautiful city.
This has been the clearest between Sydney, Melbourne, and here. This has been the clearest day in the last 2 weeks. And understand that I come from Los Angeles, which is always basically clear, but we've been suffering May gray and June gloom. Okay, so I came from that depressive kind of thing to the gorgeousness of Australia, yet rainy and cold. But today, the last day, it clears up.
It clears up. Oh, unbelievable. Yeah. Well, I have to say, congratulations on the career you've had over many years as well. But I want to, obviously, everyone knows you as Doody is Greece. You get the Greece questions. We'll ask some Greece questions, I'm sure. But tell me, what have you been up to these days as well?
Certainly. As a matter of fact, I just finished directing a critically acclaimed production of Footloose in Los Angeles.
Wow.
I've been directing a lot.
Yes.
Prior to that, I was acting in a production of Anything Goes, my third go-around with that show, and Breaking Up Is Hard to Do with It, which is a Neil Sedaka jukebox musical at a theater in Florida. And so I do, and of course the autograph signing shows as well. But I still act and I direct, and I'm also producing now too. So I produced this last production of Footloose with my partner Paul Panico of Panic Productions, and my wife is part of our production company, which is called Bar Sin Boo Productions. Bar for Barry, Sin for Cindy, and Boo is what we call ourselves and our dear kitty.
That's brilliant. So when are we expect when are we expecting to see more out of the production of Footloose?
Well, that's over and done. And we were hoping to move it on. We're still thinking about that because it was so well received. It's very tough to get something produced. You wonder how anything gets produced. The hurdles that you have to jump to get something produced is very tough. There's some interest, but we'll see. And there, are proverbial irons in the fire, as they say.
Do you get asked to do a lot of cameos? I know you played a cameo of Grease in the live musical that was in, I think, 2016.
Yeah,
do you get asked to play a lot of cameos?
I get a fair amount. Who really gets them is Doody Khan.
Yeah.
I mean, it's off the hook with Doody, and I actually turned her on to cameo. So lately, not so much, but I'm always open and available to them, of course. It's a great platform.
What was great to hear about yourself as well, you stayed close with a great of Australia, Olivia Newton-John, and you spoke to her, obviously just before she sadly passed away as well. So it was great that you were involved in her charities and everything like that.
Yes, I, through the years, because cancer has visited our lives in many different. My mother died of leukemia. My wife's father passed from leukemia. I had a dear cousin that did the same. My wife also went through breast cancer. Thank God she's clear. And as we speak, Brett, our cat is come down with leukemia and a lymphoma in her nasal passage. And our previous cat died of squamous cell carcinoma, cancer of the jaw. So it has touched us. So through the years, I have personally donated to ONJ's Wellness Center. Along with my Grease cast, we are also donating proceeds from the shows to the Wellness Center. I got to visit the center a couple of days ago, and Toddy Goldsmith, who is her niece, greeted me there, and we greeted each other like we've known each other for years. An amazing soul, a chip off the old block of her aunt, ONJ. Olivia was a soul. I think they broke the mold with her in a way, because you've never met anybody more giving with a bigger heart than hers. She called when our previous kitty was going through the cancer. She called me to give me some advice on how to care for the cat. We're actually going to be doing. They're going to do the wellness walk on October 8th of this year.
Correct.
And the Grease cast is supposed to be in Edinburgh at the time. Doing a con there. We're going to do it virtually. And anybody can do it virtually, by the way, wherever you are in the world. So to answer your question, She was fabulous,
She
and she
was.
still continues to, as her dream has, continued to come to fruition more and more every day.
We'll make sure we share that
Please
close we
do.
get to the date as well.
Please do.
Yeah. Now, just going back on the past, because we do have to ask a Grease question.
Certainly.
So, again, did you realise you had something special from day dot, or when did you realise that, hey, we got something big here?
No one has such a crystal ball, first of all. We knew that we had something, in part because the stage play, which preceded the film, was such a big success. It was the longest running play in Broadway history for a time. So we knew we had some kernel of something. We also loved each other so much right from the get-go. Some of us had done the stage play before. So I think that at the core of it all was the camaraderie that we all had and still have for each other. So we knew we had something going on, but it really wasn't until like the 10th anniversary, because initially it wasn't received as an artistic success, certainly a financial success for those who were the producers and such, but it wasn't until we realized that we have a 10th anniversary event, and a 15 and a 20 and a 25, and now just the 45th anniversary was just a couple of days ago.
Correct.
From this date, and we obviously realize it now, generation after generation, and it continues to astound us. The singing, the dancing, the gorgeousness of John and of Olivia, can't take your eyes off of them, and the talents and such. But again, at the core, Brett, how the audience sees us loving each other as much as we do. It's like the Radio City Music Hall Rockettes kicking in tandem. They see this well-oiled machine at work, and I think it excites patrons in a way that they may not even be able to articulate, if that makes sense.
It does make perfect sense, actually. But again, I have to say congratulations for being such a big part of history.
Thank you.
And we better let you go, because I know there's a line coming up to
Certainly.
obviously get your autographs,
Certainly.
signatures, and all that sort of
And
stuff.
by the way, we must shout out to Burjo.
Burjo, yes.
Sorry I
'cause
missed you, pal. But you know what?
Exactly the same time.
I think Brett is doing a fine job.
I tried. The legend Burjo on Forever Classic 6IX. You'll be very
Yes.
proud of that. Thank you so much for your
You're
time, and I can't
welcome.
wait to see you for the rest of the weekend.
Thank you so much. Bye, folks. Grease is the word.
That's it.